Welcome to the Human Meme Podcast. I'm David Bowles, and today we will discuss the historic meaning of the 6 words. Yes, today we celebrate. A new book is in the world, written with Jana Sweeney, and it is called No, I Will Not Be Your Friend. A book about the few who are. The whole argument fits in one sentence. Everyone is your friend now, and that is how the word died. The book is my attempt to pay for its funeral honestly, and then to argue for the resurrection of something older and harder and worth having. To do that, I have to tell you a story I told for 30 years, and then I have to tell you the truth about it. The book made me do this. You might as well hear it from me. Every rehearsal room I have ever loved kept 2 smells on staff: scorched coffee and radiator dust. In one of those rooms, years ago, an actor I call Curtis in the book crossed the floor toward me at the end of a long afternoon. He stepped over the spike tape, past the folding table with its script piles, and he stopped inside the working distance that theater people keep the way. Sailors keep respect for water. Then he said 6 words. I want to be your friend. A grown man saying a sincere and costly thing to another grown man. And I laughed, 2 seconds of laugh. Then I answered him with 5 words of my own. Haven't we always been friends? He never brought it up again. For 30 years, that was a dinner party story, and it killed every time. I would set the scene, coffee and radiators, give Curtis 2 admiring sentences, land the 6 words with a little pause in front of them, deliver my reply, and shrug like a man bewildered by his own abundance. The table would laugh, and I would sit there warm in the glow of an anecdote that had once again done its work. Writing this book killed the anecdote. Because here is what the polished version left out, and what the book says without upholstery. I understood the reach while it was still in the air. The laugh was the sound of a man buying time to build an exit. And my reply, that warm little question, sounded like an embrace and worked like an exit. It handed him something shaped like a yes and closed the store behind it. The producer in me had already run the numbers. Because Curtis was cast, the season was sold, and the arithmetic came back fast and unanimous. The truth costs a season. Say something else. I said something else. And then I spent 3 decades telling the story as a comedy, decorating the room so that one door never appeared in it. The book walks through that door. Once I had confessed what the word friend meant in my own mouth, I had to find out what it has meant in everyone else's, and that search became a social history spanning 3,000 years. For most of the human record, friendship was a made thing. It was sworn before witnesses and sealed by rite. The ancients asked how long it takes 2 people to eat a bushel of salt together, and they meant the question. The salt was a clock, and the clock ran in years. In the 6th book of the Iliad, 2 enemies named Diomedes and Glaucus meet between the armies, discover a bond of guest friendship older than their war, and trade armor, gold for bronze, a deal so lopsided that Homer stops to marvel at it, because the bond outpriced the metal. In 14th century Constantinople, 2 English knights, Sir William Neville and Sir John Clanvow, were buried in a single tomb, their helmets carved mid-lean, visors nearly touching, 2 objects of war caught in an attitude of tenderness, sworn brothers to the end. And when Rome wanted to destroy a man, it interrogated his friends. A philosopher named Blosius was asked whether he would have burned the Capitol itself if his murdered friend had asked him to. His answer has been shaking readers for 2,000 years, and I will let the book give it to you whole. Then the bond was privatized. The couple absorbed it. The professionals billed for it. And finally, the platforms took the word itself and stripped it down to a button. Here's the detail that organizes the modern half of the book. The engineers kept the old law. Buried in the friend request is a 3-part clause the culture threw away centuries ago. Offer, acceptance, mutual confirmation. The database remembers what we forgot. A machine holds the ceremony now, and it pays the word out to strangers by the billion. So the last movement of the book recovers the lost art the button replaced, which is the refusal. The Regency had the cut, an ending that announced itself to your face. We have the ghost, an ending that never arrives. The book weighs them and rules the cut cleaner. And then it goes further and defends the honest no as the only thing that keeps a yes worth giving. And it ends with a few. The friend who signs second on a life. The friend who arrives before the vows or after them and holds. And the name sign, which is where Jana takes the book over. Chapter 20 is hers, written in her own words at her own keyboard, on deaf culture and the way a community confers a name, a mark you cannot request and cannot buy. She and I also disagree in print about Curtis. I read his 6 words as a petition that deserved more courage than it got. Jana reads them as a trap that earned exactly the answer it received. We let the disagreement stand on the page because a marriage that can hold an argument like that is the book's best evidence for its own thesis. No, I Will Not Be Your Friend is available now, in paperback and on Kindle, and as a free web edition you can download at bowlesbooks.com. where the whole catalog lives. The cover's a switch set to off, under the words, requests, off. People keep asking me if the book is unfriendly. The book is a love letter with a lock on it, written for the few who already hold the key. Say no until your yes is worth something. Then find the people who never needed to hear it. For the Human Meme Podcast, I'm David Bowles. Wishing you a lonesome evening and a lonely tomorrow. Thanks for listening. Be a human meme.